Hey, shalom, shalom. All praises and glory belong to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kodash. Double honors unto the elders and to the apostles of Great Stone, and salutations to the open elect, all right, the men that are pushing his word out in truth and in sincerity. This is the brother Yakal coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, all right, and this one is entitled The Law of the Land, all right, only applies to the poor. All right. The law of the land only applies to the poor. No, the rich and the elite are not governed by the law. The law that they set up, that they put out and that they enforce, it's only enforced upon the poor. You know, excuse me. This is Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 4. It says, it says, therefore the law is slack and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked compassed about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceeded. You know, it says, "Oh, the law is slack." All right, the law is not um upheld. You know, in its entirety, or as they say it should. All right, it says, "And judgment that never go forth." And that's why you find the wicked. All right, they do as they please, and they go scot free. They get off. You know, for example, recently, I was driving and you know, based on the condition of the road, I overtook, right? And not being able to um return on the correct lane of the road, so to speak, all right, and crossing a double line, a double solid lane, I was pulled over by the police, all right? And as I tried to explain to him that, hey, this is the situation, the road was bad, and the vehicle that was in front of me, you know, um was driving knowingly or willingly to keep me out, you know? And the officer was basically saying, hey, we don't listen to reason, all right? I even went as far as to say, why am I driving like that if I know that I can't afford to drive like that? Right? Because he was asking me to bail or to slide a small something. I was like, yeah, you don't have nothing, And he said, hey, look, why are you driving like this if you know that you can't afford to do this? All right. I was like, no, that's not the case. There's a reason why this happened, And even went as far as to say, hey, the police don't listen to reason. The judge and the magistrate would listen to that. That's not for us, you know? And the point of the reference is that, look, he's telling me straight that, look, if you have money, you can do as you please, you know? You can do as you please. He asked me, why am I driving like this if I know I can't afford to do this? All right. So as long as you're rich, the law does not apply to you. You see? Verse 5, it says, behold ye among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which ye will not believe, though it to be told you. But the point is in verse 4. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And the wicked is in authority right now. All right. The scripture say the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. They have the dominion. They are the ones that are setting out the laws, the commandments. All right. They have this we call um amendment. No, is it amendment? Basically, the way that they set up the laws, all right, is so that it is subject to change. And they change it every so often based on what? Their desire. You see? It says when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So when the righteous, Yashar Allah is in authority, hey, the people rejoice. you know? Hey, even these Edens, gonna be in a good case. All right. It says, but when the wicked bear, the people mourn, and that's what's happening right now. The people mourn, and it is the the poor that is mourning. They are the people, you know. They mourn day and night. Hey, one of the curses upon us is that look, we gonna desire. Actually, let me read it. I think this is Deuteronomy 28. I think is around verse 48 somewhere there about. Um 48. The scriptures say that in the morning, thou shalt wish it was night, and in the night thou shalt wish it was morning, you know? Um, and that's the state that we are in today, you know? Um, Salakia. Yeah, Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68, it says, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. You know? Um, yeah, and thou shalt have no assurance for thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. So hey, that's the state that we are in, you know, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives, and we are the poor. We are the ones that are oppressed, by these laws. All right. The laws of the land that is set out, you know? All right. So let me read back this. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn exactly, and it is the poor that is mourning right now, day and night, in every single case, in every single way. You see, we are the ones that are mourning, because we are the ones that are oppressed by these laws that they set out. All right. Let me read this here, this is Daniel chapter 7. Let me swing this over here. Yeah, Daniel chapter 7 and verse 25, it says, and ye shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time, you know? And that's what you see going on with the wicked right now, where they are in authority, they are in rulership. All right, the earth is given into their hand, and what they do, they change times and laws, and everything that they set up right now is what contrary, all right, to the law, statutes, and commandments. The whole aim is to wear out the saints, you know, to wear out the saints. All right. But guess what? This time is short, and we're seeing as things ramp up right now, you know. Um, it says Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Ecclesiastes, Salakia, 10 and verse 5, it says, there's an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low places. All right. It says, well, folly is set in great dignity. The foolishness of this wicked society is set on high. All right. And the rich sit in low places, and the rich is talking about who? Uh, um, it's talking about who? The Israelites, chiefly the elect. All right. Because that rich is referring to what being rich in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. All right. Rich in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Rich in this faith. Just to prove that this is James chapter 2 and yeah, verse 5, it says, Hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not the Most High chosen the poor of this world rich in faith? So we are poor, all right, in this world, but we were rich in faith, you know? So the rich that you see sitting in low places is them that are rich in faith, you know? But in this carnal society and by carnal makings, hey, what? We're poor, all right? It says, yeah, and the rich sit in low place, all right? I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. All right. So you seeing what? These servants, which are these Edomites, all right, and these are the nations which were created to what? To serve the Israelites, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. He diggeth a pit and shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh an edge, a serpent shall bite him. The point is in verse 7. I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So what? The princes, Yashar Allah, all right, Prince of Power, all right, as well, walking as servants upon the earth. We've been brought down low, and we're under the yoke of our enemies. You see? Um, I just had a precept come to mind. Um, yeah, let me jump back in this, James. Yeah, James chapter 2 and verse 6. It says, But ye have despised the poor, doth not rich men oppress you and draw you before the judgment seat? All right, and that's what they do. The rich is oppressing Jakes. All right, and the rich is these Edomites. All right, the rich in this world, you know. Hey, even Jake when they gets a little fine change, as we just say, all right, they now, you know, think of themselves higher or mightier than what they are. And they also add to the oppression, you know? They also add to it, you see? But Lord's willing, this lesson was edifying, giving all praises honor and glory to Yahweh Bashmi Havshai, Bashma Kodash, double honors unto the apostles and to the elders of Great Stone, and salutations to the open elect, the men that are pushing this word out in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.